Yo, what is going on YouTube? I am Germ here. In this video today, I wanted to talk about an interesting potential move that I think could be very interesting and could really change the entire landscape of the LCS in this next coming offseason. Now, this is very far away. I'm talking, November, December 2022, January 2023, something like that. But the reason I want to talk about this now is this is something that is popping up more and more all of a sudden. I'm just seeing it kind of all over the place. Like, it's something that I had kind of heard people talking about, and then I see it on Twitter, and then I see it on Reddit, and then it's like, I just can't get away from it. I don't know if it's a sign that I need to make a video about it, or if I should make a video about it, or if I just want to now that I'm seeing it all over the place, and I think it brings up a very interesting discussion. Very speculative, very kind of what if, but I think that's fun, and that's what I built a lot of this channel off of is, talking about those what ifs, those potential scenarios, just facilitating these discussions, which I think are really fun. The roster building, the theory crafting, and just the overall what if. So today we're going to be talking about a big potential move that I think maybe Cloud9 or even some other teams in the LCS could make this coming off season. So definitely drop a like if you guys do enjoy this video. I would appreciate a ton. Kind of a different video, kind of a random out of nowhere video, but I think it should be a fun one. I'm excited to talk about this, and subscribe to stay up to date on all my latest content. So then when some actual moves drop or some actual news comes out, you can hear about it. But with that being said, let's get right into this. So the move we are talking about today, and the move that I have seen popping up more and more, is CoreJJ potentially changing teams, potentially leaving Team Liquid. And I know at first thought that's probably going to sound really crazy to a lot of people. He is synonymous with Team Liquid at this point. It seems like he loves Team Liquid. It seems like he loves North America. He seems happy. And they did all this work to help him get his green card done. He's now a resident, but he does have an expiring contract, which I think is confusing a lot of people and leaving the door open for a lot of this speculation. When we take a look at the global contract database, you will see here, CoreJJ, LCS, Team Liquid, November 22nd, 2022, is when that contract actually runs out. And I think there's a good reason for that. I think they were not ever signing an extension with him, at least potentially. Obviously, we don't know. Maybe CoreJJ hasn't wanted to. Maybe Team Liquid is waiting to see how things go. I can't imagine TL having any hesitation on their side. So I think there's two possibilities. One, CoreJJ has just not been wanting to sign an extension just yet for numerous reasons. Maybe he thinks he's about to have a crazy year. Maybe he wanted to wait until he got his green card. Maybe he's unsure about this team and roster going forward. Maybe he wants to test free agency. Maybe he thinks he can play for more money. Who knows? Or both parties were not even sure if he was going to get his green card. There was like the story from Dodo that, hey, maybe CoreJJ is going to have to retire. Maybe he's not going to get this green card. Maybe he's going to have to go back to Korea. And then at that point, there would have never been a point in signing an extension sooner. So they were waiting to see how things were going to go. And then also the contract negotiations are insanely different now that CoreJJ is a resident. Being a resident is going to get you a new type of bag. But that does not change the fact that he is still a free agent. He has an expiring contract coming up. Now, it is possible that between spring and summer or, at any point during the season, they get a contract extension done, and then obviously this all goes out the window. But more and more people lately are talking about what if CoreJJ goes to Cloud9. I think this is actually very interesting. And it makes me think back to when TSM signed their FTX deal. They were very public, and they were very in your face about the amount of money they signed with FTX, the biggest signing in esports history, blah, millions of dollars, like whatever, this many years, this many $1 million, we're going to do all this crazy stuff with it. Obviously, that hasn't happened. It was all cap. It was all bullshit. I mean, they got the money. They didn't do anything with it. They were just kind of flaunting it, and then now you see the state that TSM's in. Pretty funny. But on the opposite end, we had this from Cloud9. Cloud9, handshake, at blockchain, not necessarily as big of a deal, not necessarily as popular, not necessarily as in your face, and especially at this time, people were really mad. This is like the re-NFTs crowd and like re-crypto and all that stuff. So people were just kind of mad at Cloud9, for signing a scam crypto deal or whatever the heck. But you got to assume this is some big money as well. Now, yes, the amounts are not public, and again, they're not thrown in our face. It's probably not as big as FTX's deal. I'm not claiming that by any means, but I am claiming Cloud9 probably got a bag. This was probably a very, very big deal. There is insane amounts of money in crypto, and all these crypto companies are throwing bags around. And you know, it's not like Cloud9 is way below the level of TSM or anything like that. You know, Cloud9 is up there in that upper echelon of esports organizations in the world. And that just makes this all the more interesting, because the thing about Team Liquid and Steve is that they've always been willing to throw around all this money. They throw around these crazy, dollar amounts. They throw around these crazy contracts. They're spending millions and millions of dollars on their roster every single year. But Cloud9 has been no stranger to spending a ton of money either. You know, they just had that insane perks deal they gave out last season. They end up making their money back on that. You got to assume this roster was not cheap either. You know, Summit's not cheap. You know, Berserker was not cheap with his buyout from T1 and being really one of the best 80 carry prospects in the world. And all of a sudden, is Cloud9 going to offer some monster contract to resident CoreJJ? Like, Cloud9 has an insane team. And can you imagine Berserker and CoreJJ being paired up and being like a bot lane in North America for some time to come? Like, that would be crazy. Now, I do think a lot of this is contingent on, you know, Team Liquid faltering this season. And I mean, right now, Team Liquid's not looking that hot. I think I have the LCS standings pulled up here. Yeah, they're 11-4 right now. They haven't looked that great the past couple of weeks. And they're not even first place in the LCS. And, you know, this is supposed to be the LCS's version of a super team or whatever. And if this team maybe doesn't make it to MSI, say Cloud9 wins a championship, say Cloud9 goes to MSI, and then Team Liquid, whatever they do in the summer split, maybe they go to Worlds. Maybe they don't get out of groups again. You know, maybe Bjergsen doesn't show up. Maybe Santorin doesn't show up. Maybe, Team Liquid just never is able to gel as a team. Maybe these 5 players don't fit together. What would they do? Would Bjergsen continue playing? Would Bjergsen want to retire? Would Bjergsen go to another team? What would Hansama and Whippo do? What would Santorin do? What would Team Liquid do? Where would they go to make upgrades or make moves or whatever? And then again, CoreJJ would be a free agent. If Cloud9 has a great season, if Cloud9 wins an LCS championship or 2, if they go to MSI and do something, if they go to Worlds and do something, and you have Winsome, who's been good, but he's not CoreJJ, would CoreJJ consider going over and playing? And I think this conversation really started when people are comparing Hansama and Berserker and saying that, hey, maybe Hansama's better right now, maybe he's not, who knows? They're pretty comparable. They're both great world-class 80 carries, but like over the next couple of years, I think many people expect Berserker to surpass Hansama and to be one of the best players in North America. And maybe that's attractive to CoreJJ. Maybe he can go over to Cloud9 and get the same amount of money and potentially be playing on a better team. And we know CoreJJ, yes, he loves Team Liquid, yes, he loves NA, but we know he is also like an ultra competitor, and we know he wants to win. Then, you know, you also have other teams in the mix too. You have TSM with all this FTX money. If they ever decided to drop a bag, we know TSM tried to get CoreJJ this past offseason. Like, would TSM potentially be in the mix? Would CoreJJ consider leaving Team Liquid? I don't know, but this offseason becomes so spicy because if CoreJJ were to leave Team Liquid, we know Bjergsen was at TL because of Core, at least in part. We know Hansama came to Team Liquid because of CoreJJ, at least in part, and it could really cause this whole domino effect. But like I said, I see people all over the place. All of a sudden, it seems like over the past couple weeks saying, hey, what if Cloud9 tried to get CoreJJ? Hey, CoreJJ is about to be a free agent. Man, Cloud9's looking pretty good. Cloud9's 12-3. They're first place in the LCS. Berserker's a beast. Summit's a beast. Spring Split Blabber, he might be in MVP contention. What if Cloud9 got CoreJJ? Could they be a world-class team? Could they compete at the international level? Could they be that insane? Could Berserker and CoreJJ together be one of the best bot lanes in the world? Could Cloud9 be one of the best teams in the world? They have the money. They potentially, have all the resources and everything that CoreJJ would want and need. Would CoreJJ leave TL? Would he go to Cloud9? I don't know, but that gets me thinking. I think that could be a really, really fun storyline to follow the rest of the season, whether or not TL and CoreJJ get an extension done and whether or not CoreJJ decides to move on. That could be very interesting. I don't know. Keep an eye on it. And then also, C9 would have a million options from there. They'd be able to recruit anyone they wanted. Maybe they'd get Bjergsen in the mid lane, then maybe they would keep Fudge, maybe not. They could sell off Fudge for a big chunk of money. They could sell off Winsome for a big chunk of money. Resident players, super value. We know C9 loves doing stuff like that. It could be interesting. I'm just saying, hey, think about it. Keep that in the back of your head. People are talking about it very far away, but remember this video. pretty much it for this video today, guys. Definitely drop a like if you did enjoy it. I would appreciate it so much. Leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think about this little theory of mine. Do you think this is crazy, insane, idiotic, or do you think there might be something here? I don't know. I'd love to hear your guys' thoughts and opinions. Subscribe to stay up to date on my latest content. Hope you catch you guys in the next one. But until then, peace.